Alright, I've fiddled around with my code that I did before work, and it is 4:16 in the morning. I'm going to try to make this video brief. There's quite a bit of change, so if you copied the code from the previous video, make sure you note the changes. Just to be thorough, we start off with doc type declaration and our opening HTML tag. In between the title tags, we have holiday countdown, which shows up in the browser tab. We have our opening head tag, and inside of the head tags, we have style, which is our CSS, and script, which is our JavaScript. Let's not worry about the JavaScript yet or all the stuff that's in the body. Let's just look at the style. For class time box, we've got these three things set. For ID special day box, we have all of these things set. And then finally for the field set, we just gave it a width. So that's everything for the CSS style. So let's close up that. Let's look at the JavaScript, which is in between script tags. We have a single function and it's named holiday. So we have function holiday and we have nothing in the parentheses. We start our function with the opening curly brace. Here is a note that says keeps running function every second until we stop it. So that is what this line of code does. Var timer equals set timeout in the parentheses and double and single quotes holiday. So we're calling the holiday function and we're going to do it every second. So we have a comma after the function call, and then we have 1000 milliseconds, which is the equivalent to 1 second. So by using the set timeout function, we could repeatedly call a function over and over again and in any time frame that we want. Again, in this particular instance, we're going to call that every second. Now, I have created, and repetitively so that you can get the gist, variables that have to do with one specific holiday, another set of statements that are going to target a different holiday, another set for yet another holiday, and then a fourth set that I'm calling tester, tester before, and tester after, so that I don't have to wait until December to see that my code works. I need something in the now, in the next minute or so that I can watch my code work. So just for reference purposes, this is my target for Christmas. Var xmas equals new date, and in parentheses and double quotes, I have the date, December 25th, comma 2018, a space, and then the exact time that I want the target. So 00:0:01. This technically should be 2 zeros. So this is the first two sets of zeros represent hours, the second two zeros represent minutes, and the last two zeros represent seconds. So 1 second after midnight is my target, the very first second of Christmas. And so this variable xmas is going to hold that value. Then I create another variable called xmas before, and it's a string that says until Christmas. So when I first run this for Christmas, you're going to see a certain number of days, hours, minutes, and seconds, and the default message in this pink section right here is going to say until Christmas. I'm going to use the xmas before variable to pre-fill it. Once the timer goes off, I'm going to change the variable. I'm going to not change the variable. Yeah, I am going to change the variable, not the value of Christmas before, but I'm going to use a different variable called xmas after, which is set to this, Merry Christmas. So once my timer goes off, it's going to go from saying until Christmas to Merry Christmas. And I did the same general pattern for my birthday. So here I've got var my b day equals new date, parentheses and double quotes, December 17th, comma 2018, 00:00:01. So there's my target date, and we're using my b day as the variable to represent it. Here is the initial message that will show up right here before the target date goes off. It's going to say until my birthday, and by B day before is the variable that holds that value. And then when the timer goes off, we are going to use my B day after variable to fill this area with I'm now 51. I do the same thing for his birthday. Var his B day equals new date, parentheses, double quotes, December 21st, comma, 2018, and the time is 1 second into the day. I create a variable to be the default message, var his B day before equals the string until his B day, and then I have another variable that we'll use to fill up that section after the timer goes off. Var his B day after equals the string he is now 56. Now, because we're not going to wait until December to watch the code execute, we are going to create a variable called tester, in which I'm going to change the time here to show you it in action. So var tester equals new date, and in parentheses and double quotes, May 16th, 2018. The time right now is past due, so I have to fix that, but 4:16:01 means 4 o'clock in the morning, 16 minutes after, and 1 second after that. Right now it's 4:23, so let me set this to 4:25. And so that's going to be our new target. This is going to be our new default message. Var tester before equals the string test message before timer goes off. And then when the timer goes off, we're going to use this variable, var tester after equals test message after timer goes off. So as you can see right now, currently it says test message after timer goes off because I ran this before, and I have to change this time for you to see the before default. See, now test message before timer goes off. I have 1 minute and 4 seconds. And we're going to watch it go off here in a minute. In 40 some seconds, this is going to change to test message after timer goes off. Seconds take a long time when you're waiting for something simple like a program execution. Alright, here we go. This is what's going to change. There. Test message after timer goes off. Okay, so I showed you the 3 variables that we're playing with. Tester, which represents the date that we're targeting, date and time. Tester before, which represents a default message. Tester after, which represents a message after the timer goes off. Okay, this is important. Var now equals new date, because we need to establish the difference between now and the difference between our target date and time. Then we create a var time diff, and we set that equal to this expression, tester.getTime minus now.getTime. So this is the difference between now and our target, and that information is going to be stored in the variable called time diff. So here's a comment. When we reach our countdown destination, we want to do this code. So this is going to give us a condition that we want to check for truthfulness. If time diff is less than or equal to 0, that means we've reached our destination time, and we're going to do a few things. we're going to do the things that are in these curly braces. We're going to make sure that the value of the variable time diff is 0. Then we're going to use clear timeout, and then in parentheses we're putting our timer variable, so that stops our counter. And then instead of using our initial videos, document.write Christmas is here, we're not doing that. We want to use something, an element on our page to show the data. So we're using document.getElementById by ID in parentheses and double quotes, special day box dot enter HTML equals the variable tester after. So when the time goes off, we want this variable to be 0, we want to stop the timer, and we want the message to belong to the variable tester after. Now, until this becomes true, when we have not reached our target time yet, we are going to go with this else condition and do what's in the else blocks, curly braces, which is this. Document.getElementById, parentheses, double quote, special day box dot enter HTML equals the variable tester before. The value of tester before is going to be our default message. Alright, let's go on ahead and finish the rest of this code before I do any more testing. So after this if-else statement, we go down here and we're going to set some expressions to some variables. Here's where we're going to use variables to represent the seconds, minutes, hours, and days. The first statement, var seconds equals math.floor, and in parentheses time diff divided by 1000. That's going to give us our seconds. Then we have our minutes equals math.floor, and in parentheses seconds divided by 60. Then the next statement is var hours equals math.floor, parentheses minutes divided by 60. And then finally we have var days equals math.floor, and in parentheses we have hours divided by 24. Well, we only want the remainders using modulus for hours, minutes, and seconds. So we do this next set of statements. We have hours modulus equals 24, minutes modulus equals 60, and seconds modulus equals 60. After that, we want to output our variables values to the page. And we do that using document.getElementById with the various IDs of the various elements. So this particular box has an ID called days box. So document.getElementById, parentheses and double quotes, days box dot enter HTML equals days, meaning whatever the value of that variable is, plus the string, a space, the word days, and a dot dot dot. So initially we show 0, then we have a space, then we have days dot dot dot, because our timer already went off. The next box is document.getElementById, parentheses and double quotes, hours box dot enter HTML equals whatever the value of the variable hours is, plus space hours dot dot dot. Now let's go to the third box there, document.getElementById, parentheses double quotes, mins box dot enter HTML equals minutes plus the string minutes dot dot dot. And lastly, document.getElementById, parentheses double quotes, sexbox dot enter HTML equals seconds plus the string in double quotes space seconds dot dot dot. Alright, this is just a comment, so that's not executing, but this is the ending curly brace of that function. So I read the entire function from top to bottom, and here's the ending script tag and the ending head tag. So In our head tag, we looked at the CSS styles and the JavaScript scripts. Now let's look at the code in the body tag. We have decided to call the holiday function on the body's onload method. So let's open this up. We have all of our body stuff in a field set. So here's our opening field set tag, our closing field set tag, and all the goodies inside. Before we get to the first div, we have a legend, a pair of legend tags, and the legend basically gives us a caption for our field set. You say it says guess what here, it says guess what there. Here's our first div. Div ID equals days box, class equals time box, and then ending div tag. That's giving us this first pink rectangle. This one's giving us the next pink rectangle. Div ID equals hours box, class equals time box, ending div tag. The next one is here. Div ID equals mins box, class equals time box, and ending div tag. The fourth rectangle that holds data is div ID equals sex box, class equals time box, and ending div tag. Then we have a div with the ID of special day box, class equals time box, and ending div tag. Then our ending field set. Now, before we used our body on load, we had a script underneath the field set with all these elements that called the holiday function. And with it being underneath, right before the ending body tag, we wanted to load all this information first before we called holiday. But I wanted to Z this out so that it would misspell it and not execute it, and just put the holiday call on the body's unload and see if it worked just the same. So you can either call your holiday like this at the bottom right before the ending body, or have your body unload call it. But either way, you have to call the holiday function to get this to work. Now what I need to do is I need to take my target date time, which is in my script, and set it to a time in the future. It's 4:34 now. I don't want to look at the style, I want to look at the script. And I want to use the tester because that's the settings I'm using right now. May 16th, 2018, 4:25. No, I think we're about at 4:35 at this point. So 4:35, save, refresh. We've got 21 seconds. This is our default test message before timer goes off. Test message after timer goes off. Now, to be curious, we're not going to wait until December, but for curiosity's sake, let's not use our tester variables, our tester, tester before, and tester after. Let's change these variables to something different. Let's change it to his birthday setup, and we'll use his birthday, his b-day, his b-day before, and his b-day after in our code, in our if condition. Oh, I take that back. Where do I change that? Oh, here's where I do it. When I execute this, in order to get the value for time diff. So instead of tester get time, it would be his b-day get time minus now get time. If time diff, time diff, special day. Okay, so this would not be tester after message. It would be his B-day after. Else, instead of tester before, it would be his B-day before. So save this, refresh the page. Guess what? 218 days, 20 hours, 23 minutes, 1 second until his B-day. So we have 218 days until his birthday. Now if I want to do the same thing to check mine, I would change the his to my here, the his to my here, and right here as well. It would be my bday.getTime minus now.getTime. So we'll save here and refresh here. 214 days, 20 hours, 22 minutes, and 24 seconds until my B-day. So what you could do is you could make a whole bunch of field sets like this, and you could say, guess what? And you could have this countdown until your birthday, a countdown until his birthday, a countdown until Christmas, until New Year's, until a certain bill needs to be paid, until your car's paid off, until whatever target you want. You can just make a whole bunch of these field sets and just have a constant checking of time passing you by for special days. What else did we actually do? We did the tester, his B-day, my day, B-day, and let's do the Christmas one again. Xmas before and Xmas after. So let's time diff equals Xmas dot get time minus now dot get time. If time diff is less than or equal to 0, then time diff is set to 0. Clear time out of timer. Document.getElement by ID, parentheses, double quote, special day box, enter HTML equals Xmas after. Else, document.getElement by ID, parentheses, double quote, special day box, enter HTML equals Xmas before. I think that's the name of the variables. We'll see. Refresh. 222 days, 20 hours, 20 minutes, and 51 seconds until Xmas. Alright, so I showed you a lot of repetition. Hopefully it didn't make you confused. Hopefully it gave you an understanding of how you can create variables and set up special target dates or special default or default messages or after the counter goes off message, and how to do that. I already went over all of these variables. I already went over these modulus statements. I already went over all of these document.getElement by ID statements, which would give us the data in these boxes. End script, end head. I gave you the body with the onload calling the holiday function. I showed you the field set with the legend. Inside of the field set, after the legend, we have 1 div, 2 divs, 3 divs, 4 divs, 5 divs, all with special IDs and special classes. The end of the field set. And since I called holiday on load and it worked just fine, I don't have to call it down here. So I can just choose to erase all of this or leave it here as a reminder. If I don't want to use a body on load, I just want to call something, I can do it right before the end of the body. But, well, I guess it's not going to hurt to leave it here. It's not hurting anything. It's just not executing here because I misspelled the name of the function. There is no function called ZZ holiday, so nothing is happening in between these script tags. If I want something to happen in between these script tags, I can write something stupid like alert Oops. And then put some type of string in here. I'm tired. Alright. Ending body, ending HTML. I will save this and refresh this. And interesting, I wonder when the alert will pop up. Maybe the alert won't pop up because it's not inside of a function being called. I don't even know why I care, but I'm just curious. Let's use tester again. It's 442. Let's change it to 444. Let's go back to tester. Tester.getTime minus now.getTime. Tester after will be my default message. Else, until the timer goes off, I want this message. I have 1 minute, 1 second. And really the only reason I'm doing this is because I'm curious, after this timer goes off and this new message goes in here, I'm curious if this alert will pop up. Okay. Didn't actually do anything, so I suppose this statement would have to be in a function, and the function would have to be called. So really, I don't need this. I'll leave this note here for myself. This function call must be after body elements are loaded to work. I'll leave that note, but nothing else. Okay. I've went from top to bottom and over this code, and I've showed you different examples of how it works. So you can take it, make it yours, make timers for whatever events you want the timers for, and you don't have to be boring and just have default messages, and after the timer messages you could have multimedia, you could have a video pop up or an audio start to play, or you can change your background after so much time. You can set this timer to go off at Christmas, and then when that happens you can change your page's background to a Christmas background. So then set your timer for maybe Halloween. At that point, when that time comes, you will change your background to Halloween, and so on and so forth. So you can do a lot of different things by using these timers. Just use your imagination and have fun with it.